Hello and welcome to another episode of Ringside Fracas. I'm your host Naeem, and today I'm joined by Sam. Sam, how are you, bro?
I'm all blessed, my guy. I'm all blessed. How are you?
Good. Yeah, it's been a good week of boxing, so it was fun over the weekend to watch. Of course, when you got the big PBC event, we got to get you, the PBC European manager, director of operations out here. So it was a
Yeah,
great event.
one of the best cards of the year. Kick off the year nicely. You know how we do, rolling the style. So the fans wanted a fight, we delivered, and it
Yeah,
lived up to expectation.
yeah, we'll get straight into it. I mean, Benavidez versus Morrell. We've been, in our preview, we talked about it as one of the best fights that we were going to get this year on paper, of course. And the event itself, I thought delivered. It was a great event. There were very good fights. The prelims, I was watching it, was quite good. Match fights. I mean, you had guys like Kamel Moton, who I think that's a kid everyone's got to keep their eyes on. Still only 18. Everything about him's like so good. I'm excited to see what he has to offer in boxing and like how long he can stay. Some defensive issues he does have, but in general, when it comes to a prospect, you want to see what new things that they have on offer. He's got a lot on offer, and he's got a lot of talent where you think, you'd be surprised if he doesn't win a world title at some point in his career. What's your thoughts on? Yeah.
Yeah, no, like you said, all the talent in the world. It's going through the motions. Obviously, had that slip up with the weight previously, but
Slip up.
seems like he's seems like he's back on track now. Like he's getting back to winning ways. Well, he didn't lose in at the end of the day. But he's just showing us everything that we expect to see of a hot prospect that has a bit about him, if that makes sense. And it's just more a matter of when we start seeing step up in competition, that we start to judge. Obviously, I'm going to say, obviously, when you're under Floyd Mayweather, the Floyd protection team, we don't know how fast you're going to move, but he's leveled above what he's facing, isn't it, currently?
Yeah, to be fair,
Yeah.
for the level opposition, the type of opposition that he's fighting this early on in his career, they're tough fights. There are fighters that are tough, that are really in there to try and beat him, and he's looking really good. He's beating on them. The weight thing is a big issue because I think a lot of the time, especially with a kid like this, and there's so much behind him, you're kind of looking at, I wonder if he doesn't fall into that traps of the lifestyle, especially out in America where it's easy to get caught up in all of that stuff. Where you think you've made it before you actually have made it, and you get sidetracked from all that stuff.
You've just said you've nailed it in the head there. Like it's the Adrian Broner syndrome, isn't it? It's like you've got to always put in like the tax of you're from an urban scene where everything's put in front of you. You're making crazy money, and you can get caught up. It's not hard. We've seen it happen so many times with these talented guys that we think are gonna go all the way, but along the way, life catches up with you, and if you stay off the ball and you still stay on the ball, then you end up in a situation where potentially you might end up like the many other fallen soldiers, like the Charlos, and where I can go on that list for a long, long time. Where it's a bags of talent, and you're meant to go on and be this amazing person that's the next Project J, next Floyd Mayweather, and so forth, so forth, so forth. But then you end up falling short.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how they move him this year. I think the aim from PBC probably will be to get him on the big cards. Like I think Canelo's got a card in May. They're definitely going to get him on that, and just to keep him active.
Who you got a card in me?
Canelo.
Oh, so Canelo is actually fighting in me. I thought there was I thought they're both holding out.
No, there's no opponent at the moment, but they've booked the stadium and everything, and he's going to fight in May. He's not waiting around. He always fights his 2 fight dates, and September fight. So those are his locked in dates. And for Kamel, being on these big cards is good because you soak up the atmosphere, you soak up the exposure, you soak up
profile, isn't it?
Yeah, and if you're ready, you're ready. Like obviously Matchroom tried doing it with Campbell Hatton. Obviously that went the wrong way because Campbell Hatton was never of the talent.
He wasn't talent, yeah. What's he doing now? Small hall shows.
Well, he lost twice to Jimmy Flint. So I'm not even sure what he's doing now.
Damn.
There's no kind of thing. Because that was central area level and he couldn't even beat that. But with Kamel, it's like he's got the talent to be really good and potentially headline his own type of big big arena fights. And so putting him on this is really good for his exposure, his development, and also his mentality in terms of not freezing up on the big show when people are expecting a lot from you. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do with him and how far they go with him, and like you say, how fast they go with him, because he's 18, he's got bags of talent. It's just, let's see what what there is to offer now.
Yeah.
And obviously going up the card, you had Isaac Cruz, you know, one of Tank's wins that they always talk about.
You know what? Yeah, I actually hate how much a man's stocks has like been banked off the fact that a man was injured. Like
Yeah.
Isaac Cruz, literally has made a living off being a top opponent for Tank when Tank had one arm,
Basically, yeah.
and he didn't win the fight in any capacity. He just pushed him. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But fair play to him, innit?
Yeah, make your money in it. It's the same thing
Yeah.
like George Kambosos. He's not, you know, he's a decent talent, but he's, you know, the amount of money and the amount of fights he's been in now since beating Teofimo, he's maximized all the money he can get, and that's credit to the management as well.
Yeah, in fact.
But with Isaac Cruz, it's always been the same thing. It's like one track fighter. He doesn't know anywhere else to fight. He's only 26, but it feels like at some point in the next couple of years, he's going to get into a fight where he's going to get knocked out badly. He's going to get iced. Your chin can't take the amount of damage that he does. And he almost got iced in this fight. He got rocked hard. Angel Fierro could crack. I was talking to Lewis before this about this fight, and he was wondering why I gave Angel Fierro a big chance of winning this. I still favored Isaac, but I said Fierro because, you know, Isaac fights one way. He can only come forward. He doesn't really have great defense. The same with Fierro, but Fierro can punch too, and he can punch hard for that weight. And he cracked Isaac Cruz, and they went to war. And it was one of those ones where Isaac won, but he was, you know, it was a tough fight for him, and he's struggling. And it's one of those ones where you look at it and you go, Isaac Cruz is fun to watch. But if you look at it in terms of levels, he's not really levels. Like, this is an opponent where he should have blasted him out, and he couldn't do that. So for Isaac, I think, you know, you've won. I think the next big thing is now try to get the biggest fight possible, whether it's Ryan Garcia, whether it's Devin Haney, whatever fight you can get, please get it, because you're going to get iced at some point. You're going to get outboxed like you did with Valenzuela. But you are fun. You know, violence is always fun, Mexican violence as well. But that fight was really good because they went to war. There was no break in the action. It was back and forth. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a potential fight of the year contender. And to start the year like that, especially with that type of event, fair enough. What's your thoughts on what Isaac Cruz could do next?
Yeah, no, you've nailed it. Like I've realized what they're trying to do. They know that there's limitations in it, and with Isaac Cruz, he's only gonna go one way in it. So the best bet is literally to do it within. Try and stay busy fights until you get a fight where you can, you know, like a Ryan Garcia, which they was trying to do. I don't know why that fell through, but like they're trying to call out these names, and you always call out these names, but you know full well you're limited. And the minute you come into these guys, you're gonna come unstuck and be done. But before then, maximize as much as you can to get one of the big paydays. And that's and in all fairness, these fan friendly fights where you're putting him in is still keeping his stocks going, so he's always gonna get a good like cards, he's gonna get good payday. It's just how you market him, innit? You just can't have him in a dead fight. It's all good.
Yeah. Ra says Isaac will never get iced. They'll scan his brain in 20 years and find there's no change. Now he'll get iced if you fight the way he fights and the wars he's been in. And again, he's defensively so poor. His head is a block where he uses it to just block punches with his head. He's gonna get iced because he's in a bigger weight class than he normally is at, and they're bigger punches. And remember, you got guys that boil down to make lighter weights. They hit harder, and eventually his brain's going to get to a point where enough is enough, and it's going to shut down because it just can't take more damage. There's so many fighters where it's happened to where you thought, oh, their chin can take it, they'll be fine. They're not, you know, they'll never be knocked out. They might lose, but they'll never be knocked out. And then one day, all it takes is that one punch, and bang, the lights are off because you can't take that much damage again and again and again, especially clean, hard punches again. And he got rocked in that fight. He got wobbled in that fight. You know, Fierro could have got the stoppage if he was a better finisher with his shots and a bit more accurate. It's like Joe Joyce. Let's be real. Everyone saw Joe Joyce getting punched up, but no one ever thought this guy would get clean knocked out like Zhang did. No one thought that.
No, Joyce was the Terminator. Like it seemed like you can hit him with everything under the kitchen sink, and he didn't even. We've never even seen him wobble. That's how bad it is. We can't even say we've seen him stutter. Like he never took a back step, no matter what was thrown at him. And then one day that was it. Like we said, Zhang just came in. That was it. That was the wrong day. Clearly, you've taken so much. It's just chipping away. And then one day, bang, game over. And he's never been the same since.
Exactly. So I think the same will happen with Isaac, especially if he keeps fighting like this and keeps fighting big punchers as well. Like Fierro's a big puncher. Fight another guys like those and keep fighting those walls. Bedtime's coming soon. So, but it was a great fight. And then obviously Fulton Figueroa. I mean, Fulton coming out in the denim shorts.
Yo, I can't lie to you. When I saw that, I said, you know what? We're not lose respect to it. Because it's innovative, isn't it? Like and what's funny, yeah, I've seen that all on my Instagram today. And from pages that even boxing related, just about a guy came out in Tim's and jeans shorts. That's how you create profiles. So you create, marketing for yourself. So kudos to his team on that one. And then on top of it, he had a good performance. He looked good, and obviously after the last performance where he was shocking, and it was like, okay, that one loss to Inoue seems to have taken him out before he was going to go down that route. He came out today looking very strong, man. So kudos to him, man. He deserves respect. Deserves respect for getting through that in the manner he did. I thought he controlled the fight the whole way through. It was a boxing exhibition, essentially. He put on a masterclass, didn't he? Like, looks really tidy in there, looked really sharp. And off the back of the last fight where he looked so poor, like, you got to give it to him, man. Credit.
Yeah, I mean, when we previewed this fight, I was talking about the Castro fight and everything, how poor he looked and how he got dropped and everything. But he turned it all around. He looked competent. He looked a good boxer. He was boxing on the inside, getting those counters from the outside, making Figueroa pay. And he just looked similar to what he looked like when he was at super bantamweight before, like he said, before he had the Inoue fight. The one thing that was really poor about that fight was Figueroa. He looked poor, very poor, sloppy. He even though Fulton was wearing the Tims, it looked like Figueroa was wearing Tims, the way he was coming forward and being so sloppy and so slow with it.
Yeah, I mean, Figueroa looks like he's done in it. Like, what was wrong with his stomach, by the way? Because I genuinely thought, like, did he have an operation? So, what was wrong with him?
I genuinely don't have to go search that up in terms of what happened, but it's weird. It was just weird because he was plodding forward, and there was no kind of idea in terms of how
no traps set up, just literally Mexican style, come forward, hands up, and take a beating, take a pasting.
Yeah.
It's like the forwarding class from the first fight was like, okay, like at least the first fight, yeah, had a lot of pressure on Fulton, which Fulton had to think about. This one was like, Fulton had a field day. It's like, this is the kind of fight you want, yeah, where you coming back, you're trying to make a statement. Cool, he didn't get a stoppage or anything, but like, he looks good. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's like, oh yeah, he's still very much someone to contend with. He's very much a big name in the division that you to worry about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But Figueroa, I was just quite disappointed with, because it was nothing compared to what he's fought before. And Ras says Figueroa still beats Inoue. Let's be real. If he fights like that, if he fights like he did on Saturday against Inoue knocks him out. Like, Inoue will counter him hard and he'll knock him out, and he's got the ability to finish him. You can't fight like the way he did, coming forward with no ideas. I genuinely don't know what the clue was. It was night and day, his performances. He's been a bit slow at featherweight, so maybe adding on the extra weight, he hasn't done it properly, but he looked smarter before, and he just looked very dumb here. And Fulton's a smart enough boxer that when you look dumb, he'll make you look even more dumb. So good on Fulton. He's now the champion, and it'll be interesting to see how he gets on at featherweight, because there's loads of guys there. Obviously, you got Espinoza, who I think is probably the number one. That guy's 6'1". He's a monster. He's going to be a monster for anyone going there. And you got Angelo Leo, who he already beat. So that'll be interesting if they ever make that fight. And you've also got Nick Ball, again, interesting. But the fact that Fulton went and won a world title there just tells me that, look, Inoue, when he does what he does this year, the plans with Saudi Arabia, he's got to move up to 126 soon, because he's more than capable of beating those guys there. He's more than capable of becoming a unified champion there and beating a lot of those guys. And those guys will give him a challenge. But if Fulton can go up and win a world title, and Angelo Leo can go up and win a world title, there's no reason why Inoue can't go up to featherweight and win a world title. So I'll hold him to that expectation soon enough.
This is the Pacquiao syndrome now, isn't it? Where we basically start saying we don't care about weight classes and we're going to throw you in there. Because at some point, weight classes mean something, man. I'm not saying you ain't going to charge the capability to do it, but it's like, how many classes do you planned up already?
4. So this will be his 5th.
See what I'm saying? Like, this ain't normal behavior. It's not normal things.
Yeah, but if you've beaten a guy, right, and let's be real, he beat Fulton comfortably. If you look at the context of it, he beat Fulton comfortably. There was no physical issue. He cooked him completely.
The argument could be Fulton could always come with an argument about weight, about being drained or whatever if he wants to.
He never looked drained at super bantamweight. That was the thing. He never looked drained at the weigh-ins. Even Inoue looked more drained at super bantamweight than Fulton does. And
You know what?
also,
Though? I like the Nick Ball Fulton fight. That's a good fight. It's a
Yeah.
good style matchup. It's the Matador on the ball type fight.
yeah, so exactly. So and even with Nick Ball, if you look at some of Nick Ball's opponents since he's become champion, they're all super bantamweights, and he's actually struggled with Ronnie Rios. Like he beat the crap out of Ronnie Rios, but he struggled a bit. And Nick Ball's not the most. He's very stocky. There's no doubt, but he's not the largest featherweight you can get there. And so those are interesting fights for Inoue to go up and do. But yeah, Fulton fighting. I think Bruce Carrington's his mandatory. That'll be quite interesting because Bruce is someone that the top rank lot always talk about. He's decent. He hasn't really shown the levels yet, but that's an all-American fight. But yeah, if Fulton wants to go and unify, that would be good. But like I say, I want to see Inoue in now with those guys because we've seen super bantamweights go up and move recently, and if he can definitely do that move, he's more than capable. So that'll be interesting. And obviously, to top off the bill, what a fight, a great fight. Benavidez beats David Morrell in a back and forth war. Benavidez got dropped. Hey, I said it last week. I said, don't be surprised if Benavidez gets dropped, and he got dropped.
Not a full droppage though, but that wasn't really a droppage, no?
It was
droppage, but it wasn't actually a drop, was it?
It wasn't a proper one, no. But it's one of those situations where it's like he got caught on the head and he's like moving, and because of how crap his footwork is, it's so easy to just push him down.
He's so strong that his footwork is like hasn't needed to be good. When he plods along, literally so robotically and systematically, yeah, with no real like pizzazz, doesn't create angles with his feet at all, doesn't even try to bait punch, nothing, just plods forward.
Yeah,
like this, and the thing is, because he's gone up in weight now, and obviously Morocco went up as well, but it's like this weight bullying is mad.
Yeah. But the thing with Benavidez, I love about Benavidez is he's one of the best offensive fighters we have because his combinations are so fluid. I think he's one of the best combination fighters in boxing at the moment. They're so fluid, but they also come from different angles. Like he's switching up the angle at which the shot is coming from. So if he's throwing uppercuts, sometimes he'll come up the middle, sometimes he'll screw shot it, sometimes he'll come up from the left. He will throw it from any angle. Sorry. And
what I was really enjoying, what I kept doing, he kept sweeping Morrell's whole like defense with his left hand. Like he's throwing like a left hook here, but it's not actually throwing. He's just literally throwing to move the hands out of the way. They're throwing his right down the pipe. He kept doing it.
It's Ringcroft. It's Ringcroft, which is fighting, and it's not boxing. He's not boxing. He's going on the front foot. And he's trying to fight him. He's trying to find different ways to break him down.
It was sick. It was so sick to watch, man.
Yeah. And the thing I got to rate about Morrell is you could tell this was a step up in levels and experience and everything. But he went and he tried to give it, and he hurt Benavidez at times. He made him pay with certain shots, and he was there all throughout the fight.
Yeah, Benavidez was made to fight. He was made to fight for that win. Like he won the fight, but it wasn't a whitewash, if that makes sense. Like I feel like he wasn't in danger in that capacity, but it was like. This was a hard. It wasn't a routine with any capacity. And Morrell come back and seriously, Morrell's chin is insane.
Yeah, he can take a shot. He can hold a shot, and he didn't freeze up on the night. Again, these are levels, and he's been shown levels. But he didn't seem like a fish out of water in there. He seemed like he belonged in that ring. He made it tough for Benavidez. He had moments. He was getting beat throughout the whole rounds, and he was struggling with the pace. He was struggling with the nerves at the start. He's a bit more jittery because it's his first big fight. But I think he didn't do a disservice to himself. He fought, he tried to win, and it didn't come off for him. But he's gained a lot of fans from that.
Yeah, I knew he wasn't going to win from the weigh-in. From the weigh-in, I said, yeah, nah. It gave me PTSD with Spence Crawford when the man didn't want to look at man. I was like, yeah, I've seen this before.
Yeah, but to be fair, I mean, that being said, he wasn't afraid in that fight. He definitely.
No, it wasn't. He came into the threat ring, but from there, I could just see like the event was overwhelming into a degree, if that makes sense. There's a level of self-conflict. That's what for me. That's me obviously doing my own analysis on body language, so forth. But yeah. I've seen enough time now to say that history has shown that the guy can't get himself up to stare a man down or whatever. Typically, it goes one way.
Yeah, it was fair, yeah.
Yeah. Same as
But with
Fury against Usyk.
yeah. What else? I can't remember another aspect where that's happened, but there's definitely been like that where if you're not looking at them, that intensity goes away. Then basically you don't have that in the ring as much. But obviously with Benavidez winning, he kind of positions himself into a shot for the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol. And Ra says hot take number 2: Benavidez could beat Beterbiev. That's not a really hot take. He could beat Beterbiev. He could beat Bivol. But if we had to analyze it now based off their last performances, no, I just don't think he will, because Benavidez is a big dude, and physically he's a big dude. But Beterbiev is a strong, solid, like heavyweight. Like he's no super middleweight or middleweight that's small.
Sorry, man. We have to stop the tape right there. I'm so sorry. That was a hot take. He's not beating him for shit.
could is the thing, but he's not.
Yeah. He's not. Nothing.
He's not doing it. It's because Beterbiev's too strong on the inside.
He's too strong. He doesn't mind to stay in the pocket as well. Like, nah. It's with Beterbiev, he gets people going where people like you're kind of forced to fight the back foot, even if you don't want to. Even in spots, you might come forward, but overall you're being overwhelmed. I don't see that happen with Beterbiev. He's just got too much power, and Benavidez in the back foot is non-existent. He's done. He's dead in the water.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I was like, I wonder how Benavidez fights on the back foot, because your footwork's not going to work. You're not going to get yourself in trouble. You don't you use your jab, but you don't really use it as a measuring stick. You use it just to get on the inside and then get your shots off. So when you're on the back foot, how are you going to get countered? How are you going to get your shots off? You're used to coming.
And Beterbiev cuts the ring off so well, and he's so effective on the inside and outside. Even though it doesn't look cute, he does a very good job, and it's so underrated. It's that someone like Benavidez would allow Beterbiev to shine. It's just too many defensive flaws as well.
He'd get battered. Like also, Beterbiev can actually box off the back foot and counter well. So Benavidez can come forward. Beterbiev is going to counter him, and you saw what he did to Bivol. Countered him and stopped the attack, and then went straight after Bivol because Bivol had to get on the back foot. He's going to do the same to Benavidez, where Benavidez comes forward, gets cracked with a good shot, and Benavidez will go down not even from the raw power, but because of the way he plods and comes forward, Benavidez will notice that, crack him with a good counter, and put him down, even if it's not the hardest shot. It's just because he just recognizes, he's off balance here, bang. And then on the inside, he's actually quite solidly strong. Like he can push people off. Him and Bivol are quite strong on the inside.
Absolutely.
So, it's going to be one of those ones where you realize, this is why they call him the Mexican monster at these weights. But when he steps up, he's the monster.
It's a different ball game. Like I'm not sure he wants. I don't believe he wants that fight. It's going to keep chasing Canelo.
This is the interesting one. So they asked him, what about fighting? Because Turkey basically invited him to come to Riyadh to watch the Beterbiev Bivol 2 fight, and in the press conference they asked him, what about a fight in Riyadh with the winner of it? And he's like, nah. So he wants to fight them, but he wants to do it in the US because he's built his fan base here, and to be fair, I get that. But if the money comes and the opportunity comes, you take it. And also,
that sounds to be like a preload of a duck.
Also, he was asking a couple of months ago, he was asking Turkey to get Canelo to fight him in Saudi.
Yeah, so there you go. Preload of a duck. That's what that is.
Yeah,
that is the loading of a duck.
The Zerdo thing is like, if I don't get Beterbiev, he's been talking about, if I don't get Beterbiev and Bivol next, then I'll just move up to cruiserweight and take on someone like Zerdo. So he already has that in the back of his mind of going up to cruiserweight and becoming a champion there.
Yep, duck. That's what it is. That's a duck, straight duck.
Yeah, so if he doesn't fight them and he's the mandatory, that is a duck. That is a duck. But the thing is, I won't call it a duck for now in terms of, because he hasn't done it yet, because he's proved us wrong when he took on Morrell. He proved us wrong when he took on Vosdik. He took on Andrade. He took on Plant. So fair enough. But I think this one will be especially if Beterbiev and Bivol, if you look at the second fight and they still look as they normally do, that's too tough for him. It'll be way too tough. Benavidez is a world-class fighter. Beterbiev and Bivol are elite fighters, and you'll see the difference in gap in quality when they step in the ring with each other. Because even if Benavidez fought Bivol, that's a very tough fight for him. The footwork is just too much. The countering, the sharpness of Bivol, he just won't be able to trap him.
I prefer him against Bivol. In honesty,
he
Don't
has a
think he
better
wins by
chance.
Premier League, yeah.
He has a better chance stylistically, but still, I think he still gets outclassed in that fight because he's not great at cutting off the ring. His footwork's ploddy. His defense isn't the best. He's got better defense. Like in the Morrell fight, he was using like cross guard and blocking and parrying. It was quite good. I thought he wasn't just sitting behind his jab and behind a guard. He was actually actively blocking and parrying stuff and slipping shots. But I just think it's a different ballgame when you fight those guys. It's a proper different ballgame. Like, you know, outside of each other, almost 40 guys have tried and all of them have come up short. And it's just no one was close to even winning against any of them. So, yeah, I think the Canelo fight, though, I still think, you know, Benavidez probably is the favorite against Canelo. But Canelo's got a chance of winning that fight. So, but obviously Canelo's in that, you know, payday mode and ride out the sunset without having to take the tough fight. So fair enough, you know, I can't, you know.
Don't knock him. Don't knock Canelo like that. For he's been around for like 15 years, man. Like,
yeah.
Man.
So Ross says Benavidez is declining with every camp. He'll find in Benavidez a large, strong man. The primary is he declining? Is he really? Those Bivol and those Callum Smith fights don't really show that. I wouldn't say he's declining. Just because he didn't knock out Bivol doesn't mean he's declining. He boxed very well. He was boxing until he was really good. He was fighting, you know, hard, sharp, very good. So I'm not sure if he's declining the way you say he is. He's definitely been better in his prime, but he's more smarter now. Benavidez won't fare well against either of them. Run says, yeah. And Ross says, I think he has a better chance against Arthur, but it will take a hellacious toll. Yeah. And let's see how good his chin is, Benavidez. Like, I think Morrell can punch hard, so he's got a decent chin, but Benavidez is different, man. Benavidez is just a different kettle of fish. And then moving over to Britain, of course, Adam Azim takes on former world champion Sergei Lipinets for the IBO super lightweight title, and he stops him in 9 rounds in a comfortable performance. A few low blows here and there, which did kind of dampen the mood, but in general, a great performance, I thought. Again, Azim just showing that he's getting better with each fight in terms of his maturity, how he's boxing, how he's choosing to fight. And yeah, now he's the IBO World Super Lightweight Champion. So, you know, he's a British World Champion now. Because we recognize the IBO
title. Yeah, I know you recognize it now. But I didn't when it was for Kashubank, but fair enough.
Who's that? Anyway. But I thought that was a brilliant performance. I think again, it's similar to the Hara Davis one, where he's showing this level of maturity, sticking behind his jab, going to the body, going to the head, not getting overzealous with his shots, and not getting overzealous with his, you know, wanting to be flashy and wanting to get the thing, but using his fast reaction, using his ability to go and break down the guard. I thought a bit in the middle, he was kind of like, he could have done a bit more in the middle rounds, but
then got a bit pedestrian like, innit? Like,
yeah, it was
push, yeah.
Sticking to the jab and doing the same shots in there. He wasn't really putting it all together in combinations. But then as rounds 8 and 9 came on, he was finding the uppercut, especially that right uppercut, boom, and Lipinets couldn't get out of the way. And what a stoppage by Steve Gray, the referee, because that was one where
it was doing tough, man. And it was just taking a straight up beating. It was getting silly.
Yeah, I mean, you saw that last shot landed and his head just went all over the place, and he was going to fight again, but you know, Steve Gray recognized that and just went, no.
It's like he short circuited.
Yeah, but that's what happens in boxing, isn't it? Sometimes you're not getting completely knocked out; you're just out for a second, you're back, but it's just dangerous because of what can happen to your head. But what are your thoughts on Azim after watching that performance?
Yeah, no, you know what? Yeah, I've got to give him credit because I thought it would be a tougher fight. I thought Lipinets would be way more durable than what he was and would present more challenge, like more of a problem for Azim to figure out. But he figured him out really quickly. Like he was, like he just got off straight away. Like he found his range, got his jab going. Obviously, quick movement, quick hands. Started 1-2 quite quickly. Got his uppercuts in there towards then the middle bit. He did kind of slow down. I don't know if he just kind of thought, okay, you're not out yet, and then maybe just pace himself a bit. Then he picked it up again, and yeah, it was job well done, man. And because I expected Lipinets to present more, I thought, you know what, you got to give him credit because that should have been a tougher fight than what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when this fight was made, I was saying on the account, on the Twitter account and everything, I was saying this is the way you should move a fighter like Adam Azim. He's 22, he's young. You want to get him experience, but you also want to get him in with guys that've been at the top level, so that they're a bit washed, but they've got something about them where it forces him to actually have to think. And sometimes in that fight, he had to think because he was getting hit a bit with Lipinets' jab, and Lipinets was trying to take it on the inside. But I liked how Azim showed everything in his boxing. He showed he could fight on the outside. He could show he could counter. He could show he could get on the inside and go to work there. The low blows were a bit of a issue. Obviously, he was going a bit too low. He's got out the shots a bit better, and he was lucky that it was only 2 points. But obviously, in that fight where he's controlling it completely, the 2 points is not fine, but you can get away with it because he was on his way to knocking him out. The countering was good. He showed a good level of boxing around in all aspects of his boxing, whether it's on the inside or on the outside. So it was quite good, and I thought that's how you do it. That's how you move the Adam Azim, and what you need to do now is capitalize on this momentum that he's got. He looked really good against O'Hara Davies, and he looked really good against Lipinets. He didn't take the most damages. He's got a bit of scar, a bit of marks on his face, but didn't really take damage, if being honest. And this year is the big key year to kind of get him into the casual sense, because we're trying to, they're trying to promote him as a fighter for the casuals as well. Ra says the way Azim has been moved is fine. It's just how he's been talked up by his promoter and his own musings that don't correlate. Yeah, I mean, the post-fight interview where he goes, Dalton Smith, I hope you're watching, but then really isn't taking the fight next. It's quite disappointing, but at the same time, I get why. Because from Azim's team, the strategy is, well, Dalton's 27, we're 22. If we're being honest, and obviously, you can say I'm biased, I'm an Azim fan. I also like watching Dalton Smith. I think he's quite good, but I think the highest ceiling probably lies with Adam Azim. He's just got that bigger and better X factor than Dalton Smith has, and he's actually improving, showing a better trajectory at the moment. Obviously, now I think Dalton Smith's the better fighter. But if you're on their team side, you're like, well, we can wait this out. Like, Dalton can do whatever he wants, and we can keep developing. Then at one point, we know Azim is much better than Dalton. Put them in the ring, and he knocks out Dalton. Then he shuts up all the haters. What I think, though, is this year's the year that you should take on Dalton Smith, because that's how that rivalry, that British rivalry, that's how you get someone to be talked about amongst the masses. So let's see how it goes. But yeah, I'm just excited to see what's next for Adam Azim. Yeah, let's see. Ra says, still have my doubts he can be world champion in stacked divisions. Not seen him go against a weak-schooled American who are another level. Yeah, I mean, I have doubts that both him and Dalton can win world titles at 140. It wouldn't be surprising. We've seen lesser fighters, but I still need to see more from them. And they're going about it right, in my opinion. I think the fights that they're taking and the things that they're doing are good. So I'm excited to see what they can do. Let's see how well it goes. But with Adam, I think the main thing now is, like you say, move it fine. Now get an opponent better than Lipinets and keep active. Get yourself on those headliners. I thought he should have been on the Eubank Ben undercard. I thought that's a missed opportunity for Adam Azim, because being on that card, whether or not he fought, Pierce O'Leary, or if he fought, who was the other one that we're talking about, Sean McComb, decent fighters who I think would be a step up from Sergey Lipinets at this stage in his career. And if he performs well on that card, people are going to be tuning in, because loads of people are already going to be tuning in for Eubank and Ben. So they see Azim, they'll be like, oh, I want to see more of this kid because he's showing a lot and he's young. Let's see what he can do. But it'll be interesting, because I think obviously Ramadan's coming up, so I don't think he's going to fight in April. But let's see what the next date is for him. That boxer card was fun in terms of you get upsets and whatnot, but I just think in general, we'll have a conversation about this in detail later, about the level and standard and quality of British boxing shows, not Riyadh shows. They're on British time, but they don't really count as British boxing shows. The level of British boxing has fell quite a bit, and it's not really living up to it. Obviously, you had Callum Simpson on the undercard. The guy that they got to fight him, I don't know where they got him from. He's a soldier, so make your own assumptions about that. He was tough, but that was it. He wasn't really a good boxer. He just stayed in front of Callum and just tried to swing with the high guard and then come back at him. I think Callum Simpson is like, he makes a lot of mistakes. His distance management isn't great. Like he's not good at being aware of how far away he is from the fighter and what range he is and what shots he has to throw. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see where Callum Simpson goes. I wonder what you guys think about Callum Simpson in terms of how well or how far do you rate him in terms of his ceiling? Because I think domestically he'll be decent, but I just can't see him doing anything at world level, let alone world championship level. I think they'll have to see in terms of what his how they move him. I think the thing that was saying was recently Ben Shalom said that they're going to get him an American former world champion to fight, probably a washed name. I'm not sure who, and see what it was. But I think it's good that he's been active. 3 weeks notice, fought in January, fought again in February. But let's see what the future holds. I want to see the Mark Jeffers fight. I think Mark Jeffers is someone no one really talks about on the British super middleweight scene. And I think if you want to really build a fighter properly, that's a very good domestic dust-up, because Mark Jeffers is a problem in terms of the way he fights and his ability. And he can cause Simpson some problems, especially the way Simpson, when he comes forward, because of his distance management. But if Simpson wins that, it's a good name to have under your record, but it's also a good way to develop. So Simpson calling out Pacheco, I mean, I think that was in jest, but yeah, that would be fun. But I think Diego Pacheco is someone that I think is just a step too far. If he fought someone like, I don't know, Travis McCumbee, that wouldn't be bad. I can't knock that. Travis McCumbee is a decent American super middleweight. But like I said, I like the Mark Jeffers fight. I think that would be a brilliant showdown. But I think Simpson's also looking for someone like Liam Cameron, so he might go up to light heavyweight and fight Liam Cameron. Who knows? It'll be interesting to see what he can do. Obviously, Scott Forrest got knocked out in one. That was interesting. Ignat can punch, and he really put out Scott Forrest. I mean, he's complaining about the referee stoppage, but I'm not. It was a correct stoppage, and I think he wasn't any hard done by. I think the overall quality of the card wasn't that great to watch, but the main event was good. But we do need better fights in Britain. I feel. I think it's not the best of opportunities. 168 is full of danger. Sergio and Billy Iglesias. Yeah, but the problem with Callum Simpson and these names is these names are legit world level fighters. I don't think they're gonna pose Callum. They're smart boxer. They talk a load of nonsense, but they're not going to put Callum in, especially with the way that they want to market him. They're not going to put him in with world level fighters until either they're ready or they get an offer that they can't really refuse. So let's see. But yeah, I mean, Iglesias is the one that loads of people don't really talk about. Osley's scheme. He's a problem. He's with Eye of the Tiger Promotions, the Canadian boxing promotions, but he's a flipping problem. He could cause a lot of damage, and I hope they get him active this year and keep building his name, because he's a proper problem to watch out for. And in Billy as well, another problem. Canadian with top rank in Canada. Obviously, he's French, but he fights out of Canada a lot of the times. Just a big problem. And Kevin Saggio, Britain know about him when he knocked out Jack Cullen, and he did push-ups and he was doing all the celebrations, and the refs were being a bit too hands-on with him because they didn't want him celebrating, which I thought was a bit stupid. But those are real problems at 168, and I think if they fight Callum Simpson next, they're knocking out Callum Simpson, and that's just how I feel. All right, so moving on from that, just one last thing. Obviously, UK cards were back in Manchester for Derek Chisora's last UK fight against Otto Wallin. I wonder what your thoughts are on that in terms of how you feel for this fight. It's interesting. I mentioned this because Otto Wallin is someone who has decent ability, but he doesn't really have the CV or the resume to kind of back the ability. I mean, his best win is Brazil or Gassiev. And in the heavyweight division, they're not really big names to boast about, especially at the point that he beat both of them. He gave Tyson Fury hell. But it was a good. He showed a good account of himself. He went to war with him, but then when he fought AJ, it was a complete dismantling. Like Otto Wallin just did not want to be in that ring with Anthony Joshua at that time. He was just getting battered, bruised, and beaten up. And Joey Gamache, his trainer, did the right thing by pulling him out because he was not, he just wasn't in there. And obviously, had a comeback fight against someone. He got a knockout early. But I think the problem with this for Derek Chisora is Derek Chisora. He's never changed the way he's fought for like the last 50 years. He's going to come forward. He's going to throw, he's going to throw haymakers from left and right. He's just going to go and try to knock out Otto Wallin. If he doesn't do it in the first 4 rounds, he's going to try hang on for the next 8 rounds, having this little bursts of moments, trying to win. And it's just going to be the same pattern that he's followed for most of his career. The interesting thing about Chisora is he'll have a lot of momentum and a lot of confidence because he beat Pulev and he beat Joyce. Fights that a lot of people didn't really think he would win, especially the Joyce fight. I don't think many people picked him to win. Even I didn't pick him to win. And he dropped Joyce and he beat him. Obviously, Joyce is completely finished. But Otto Wallin is different because Otto Wallin's not your typical heavyweight. He will move a lot. He's not interested in trying to fight. He's interested in trying to box, make you look a bit dumb, catch you coming in sometimes and then moving away and going again. And like Ra says, it's for your final fight in the UK and your penultimate fight in your career, especially if you're trying to have this big swan song. I'm not sure Otto Wallin was the right choice. Of course, in the negotiations for this fight, they wanted initially Jarrell Miller, that was it. And that would have been fun, fair enough. Both guys coming forward, and Jarrell only knows how to come forward and throw 1,000 punches in the fight and just eats every single shot coming his way as well. That would have been fun. That would have been violent. That would have been a great way to end his career. But of course, because of negotiations and promoters blocking that, Miller didn't get the fight. So they moved on to Otto Wallin. And I always thought, especially if Otto Wallin, he was meant to fight Dillian Whyte. And I thought, against those opponents who are really explosive punchers, but they're not the most athletic fighters. They're not really that competent when it comes to pure boxing. He could win those fights, but he wins it in such a boring manner. Like, he doesn't win it great. He makes it a bit negative. Like when he fought Gassiev was just coming forward. He's plodding for trying to get those big haymakers and that left hook off. And he just wasn't getting in range quick enough. And Otto Wallin was just moving off. It's interesting because I'm not sure what to pick, because I would normally pick Wallin because I just think that negative style of boxing will always confuse Chisora. But the way he looked at Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua was obviously much better than Derek Chisora. I don't think you have to say too much about it. It was just the way he lost to AJ. It wasn't like, it was as soon as that first body jab landed, the intensity from Wallin's face wasn't there. He didn't want to be there. He as soon as he realized, damn, like this guy's coming at me, he didn't want to be there. And Derek Chisora was going to bring that intensity for the first couple rounds. And I wonder how Wallin will deal with that, because it's one thing having the ability to negate it, but once the mentality is not there and you don't really want to be there and you're struggling with it mentally in terms of trying to get out of the way, it's going to be a tough night. So I'm quite curious to see Wallin, because Wallin, this is his comeback. Sorry, this is his comeback fight in terms of, like, this is, you're back again on the world level scene. People are going to be watching, tuning in again. You didn't look good at all against AJ, and it was a battering, and it's his chance to kind of not right the wrong, but get himself back into the mix. But I just wonder if Chisora comes forward and he's just brutal and ruthless coming forward, and he just keeps throwing. He's very intense. He's just throwing, and he lands that haymaker. Might not knock out Wallin straight, but it might put the fear of God into him, and he doesn't box the same way. And Chisora might win it just because he's more aggressive, and Wallin's just not willing to throw back because he's just now scared of this intensity. So it's interesting. But like me and Ra says, it's not the best opponent to choose for a penultimate fight. It might not be the greatest fight to watch either. I'm not expecting this to explode at any point. It might be disappointing, but Derek Chisora is just looking for that last kind of swan song, get the last couple M's out of the way, and sing goodbye on his career. And we might do a pod, going through his career towards the end, and what he kind of accomplished, what he meant to British boxing. He meant quite a bit to the fans here. He's still got his big following. But I'm just not excited about this one. I'm gonna watch it, but it's just not an exciting fight to watch. So yeah, that's not gonna be interesting. I think there was a fight with Hutchinson versus Parker meant to happen at light heavyweight. That's off because of Willie Hutchinson injured himself in sparring. Got announced today that it's off. Masood versus I think Zach Masood is fighting, or Masood Abdullah. I'm sorry, not Zach Masood. Masood Abdullah's fighting, so that's gonna be interesting to see. Gardner's also fighting, so it'll be interesting to see that fight. But yeah, that's it. British boxing, the quality needs to improve. But hopefully, 2 weeks, we've got a big fight card to preview, so make sure you tune in for that. I'm going to have lots more things to tune in for, so make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you comment. Make sure you share the video to friends that you know will watch this. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Ringside Fracas. And always give us feedback. Give us things you want to hear about, things you want to talk about, things you think that we should be talking about, things that you think should be on this. And, we love to hear it. Like I said, it's a journey. We want you on this journey with us. And, yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Enjoy the fights and peace.